that kind of dream is extremely powerful. And in the dream, you can usually feel how at home you feel. Like you almost feel as if you were searching for this place your whole life and you finally found it and it was within you. That's what it means. Hey guys, welcome back to Dream Analytica, and here are types of dreams and what they mean. Falling. Falling could represent some action of a descent from a height. And in dreams, the symbol of height usually represents some sort of detachment from the ground, an inflation of attitude. Maybe you're too proud, or you live too much in fantasy, or you're too rational. And anything with height could represent detachment from ground. And the ground as a symbol usually represents reality. Think of you're grounded. Being on the ground is usually a good indication that you are in a healthy state and you have a healthy psychology. So any departure from the ground is usually an indication of that detachment from reality. And usually dreams where we're flying or we're up in the air feels really good. That probably indicates that you're living too much in fantasy land, because living in the fantasy world feels really good, but you're detached from reality. Usually in those instances, the solution, if the interpretation is correct, you could easily say that you need to come back down to the ground and ground yourself in everyday, in reality, in objective reality. And usually that does it. So the dreamer will start to find themselves walking more often, or similarly on the ground in their dreams. Another dream would be being chased. A very common dream, especially amongst younger people nowadays, being chased by a shadowy figure most often. What that usually means is if the shadowy figure is the same gender as you, meaning if you're a male and the figure is a male as well, usually indicates the shadow. You could take it and just say, there's a shadow chasing me. So what that means is that there's an aspect of your psychology that has been repressed and that is trying to come at you, or rather trying to come into your consciousness. The ego represents the first person perspective. That is the I in the dream. So whenever you say, I did this or I saw that, that's the ego, that's consciousness. In the dream, if there's a shadow chasing you, you could say, I was being chased by a shadow. The shadow represents your repressed unconscious aspects that's trying to come to consciousness. The shadow is not all negative. It has just as much positive qualities as it does negative. Most of the time, not all, but most of the time, the shadow really just wants to return your wallet back to you. It's actually not trying to hurt you. It just wants to be recognized and realized. And that's why he's chasing you in the dream. He's really just trying to come to consciousness, come to the light, and tell you, hey, I'm not all bad. I am just trying to help you, really, in life, to become whole, to integrate with you. And the way you can integrate your shadow is by first recognizing that you don't need to run anymore in your dreams. There's nothing to be scared of about those hidden aspects within your psychology, within your personality, and shake hands, give your shadow a hug. And you really just have to imagine that, and that does it. Understanding what those shadow qualities are within yourself, you could do that through dream analysis by understanding, okay, maybe I've been repressing my extroverted side, my loud, my obnoxious side. So you could easily express that in healthier ways, like through dancing. Maybe you're not a dancer, but maybe you're introverted and you don't think movement is all that important. But the dream is showing you that that's actually a part of your unconscious psychology. So one healthy way to express that is just start dancing. That's one way to express your shadow aspects. For example, like one could learn fighting as a means to let their shadow out, or to express their shadow. And once you do that, once you stop running from your shadow, the figure in your dreams usually turns into your best friend. Literally, it could take on the appearance of your best friend in real life. That is what happens when you integrate your shadow. And then you realize that your best friend has always been there trying to help you this entire time, and that you can evoke him whenever you need, that you can utilize your shadow aspects when you need him or her. So the shadow can be a very supportive figure as long as you recognize him, her, and don't repress him or her. That's really important in psychology, is not to repress aspects of yourself, especially your instinctual aspects. Now, the other aspect of being chased in dreams is by, particularly for women, is the opposite sex chasing them. So a man or a group of men are chasing her in the dream. So the man usually would represent the animus, or the masculine aspect within a woman's psychology. And if the man is chasing you in the dream, that usually represents that, just like the shadow, you probably are running away from your masculine traits, or that your masculine traits are trying to take over you, invading your individuality, your feminine nature, depending on what occurs in the dream. But if you're being chased, you're being hunted by a masculine figure, some masculine aspect within yourself is hunting you down, and the feminine is trying to get away from it. Another type of dream, which is very powerful, is almost like a divine dream. Like you have a location like castle, or this giant fountain, or this plaza, this magical place that seems like heaven almost. That kind of dream is extremely powerful, and in the dream you can usually feel how at home you feel. Like you almost feel as if you were searching for this place your whole life and you finally found it and it was within you. That's what it means. So what you found, and this is going to be in Jungian psychology, what you've actually witnessed, this location or this entity, is the self, is your totality. That sense of coming home was you discovering yourself and finally coming back to where you belong. It's difficult to explain because the feelings are so powerful, but I know quite a few people who have had these dreams, including myself, where you're just in this beyond words beautiful environment and you feel right where you belong. It could be represented by an environment, it could be represented by the self personified, usually as like an old person of the same gender as you, like the wise old woman or the wise old man, that just makes you feel safe, that makes you feel like someone's watching over you, that you feel guided. That is a very powerful dream, because what you've just witnessed is the self, the central nucleus of your psychic totality. And the self is the guiding factor. It directs our lives. That type of dream is equivalent to individuation, meaning you've just witnessed a totality, or a union of opposites, either represented by an environment or a subject, a personification of something that represents a totality. Some people see mandalas, which represents the self as well. Some people see pyramids, some people see like cubes. Those are representations of the self, of totality, of your inner divine center. And it brings such powerful feelings to you. If you had that dream, that's amazing, and it usually feels really good. What it did for me is it gave me this meaning. It gave me this feeling of wholeness. Like I finally came home looking for this place my whole life, feeling lost in the desert, and I found the place. I found the oasis. Another type of dream is one that involves water, or a body of water. And it's very common in Jungian psychology to associate water with the unconscious, meaning water is a symbol for the unconscious. And so depending on the state of the water would indicate the state of your unconscious. So if there's a storm, tsunami, turbulent waves, that would give you an indication of your psychological state of the unconscious. It's probably in a state of turmoil. If the water is calm, then you can associate that with having a pretty calm unconscious, a Zen-like unconscious. It also matters in what form you're traversing in the dream. Just like on the ground, which represents reality, in the water, which represents the unconscious, like are you swimming? Are you on a boat? Are you on a ship? The ship could represent that separation with the unconscious through a rational means, which is the ship traversing the unconscious, meaning you're on a ship and traveling somewhere, maybe to an island, which would be the center of your psyche, the totality. That could represent that you are now in the beginning of traversing your unconscious. And that could quite literally represent the process of individuation, where you're traveling in the unconscious, discovering aspects about yourself and how you go about it. Maybe the ship could represent the mechanical, rational aspect, usually men. I have a client that's a man who has the dream where he's on a ship, a big iron ship, which could represent the massive load it takes to traverse his unconscious, and that he has to shed that weight and swim in the unconscious instead of separating himself like oil and water with a ship. So to be more connected with the water, he should be swimming. So water is a very important symbol in dreams, and if you have that, it could have a very good diagnosis for what your unconscious state is or your psychological state is, and help you rebalance it. Another kind of dream is an apocalyptic dream, and I've had these, and I know a lot of people have had these, and that usually represents quite literally the ground shattering beneath your feet, your old self dying and your new self coming. Apocalyptic meaning world shattering, world destroying, that your old world is now gone and you are now going to face a new world or see the world in a new way, psychologically speaking. So all the old has died and now you're getting prepared for the new. There could be a prophetic aspect to an apocalyptic dream, meaning that you could have some anticipation aspect within that dream, anticipatory function, meaning it could be a prediction of a future event that may occur in reality. It's very nuanced to say that, so you would really have to look within yourself and find your personal associations. But generally speaking, a dream of that nature, an apocalyptic dream, usually represents a new change in attitude or new perspective, way of an old way being replaced by a new way of thinking or approaching life. Think of death and rebirth, metamorphosis, a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. Relationship dreams, another kind of dream, are relationship dreams, usually about your partner. And it's really important to understand that the characters in your dream represent an aspect of yourself. Your unconscious just borrowed the image of that person to represent those aspects within yourself. And it's really interesting to note that when you have a best friend, or when you make a best friend, you possess some of those aspects that your best friend has, and that's the reason why you are friends with them. Equally, for a relationship with a partner, you sort of project your internal image onto them. What that represents is that you're projecting those qualities that you have within yourself onto your partner. So when you dream about your partner, those are essentially your qualities. And if it's of the opposite sex, let's say you're a man and you have a dream of a woman, of your partner, those are your feminine qualities that you have, that she may also possess in real life, but that you possess. So it's a representation of the qualities that you have within yourself. Whatever your partner is doing in the dream, those are aspects within yourself. There's an internal marriage and there's an external marriage. Having a good relationship with yourself, with your internal opposite, I wouldn't say guarantees you a healthy relationship externally, but it will improve your chances of a healthy relationship externally. That's what the dream is trying to indicate, is trying to teach you how to have a good internal relationship with your opposite. For women, having a good internal relationship with your animus or your masculine traits will help you and improve your relationships with the opposite sex in real life. Equally for men, if you have a good relationship with your anima, and that shows through dreams where your anima is embracing you, supporting you, that is essentially your soul. The anima is Latin for soul. That is essentially your soul supporting you, and then you won't be dependent on a partner to provide you with those kind of divine support that you're looking for in the relationship. Taking out the dependency on the relationship really improves the relationship, because you become more independent, more confident with yourself, and you won't feel as desperate for those aspects that you're lacking and looking for outside, because you have them in yourself and you found that out through your dreams. Equally for women, your assertive qualities, your entrepreneurial qualities exist within you in the masculine form, and if you see that through dreams where he's supporting you, where he is loving you, then you could say that that's an inner marriage, an inner union with your masculine attributes. And I would say you have quite a healthy psychology if you have that sort of relationship with your inner masculine that has superseded the instinctual sexual desires for both men and women. That is more about wisdom, about divine wisdom, a relationship where your opposite is sort of guiding you towards this divine wisdom. So those are some types of dreams and what they mean. And if you enjoyed that, please subscribe for more. Stay tuned. I've also developed an application available on the App Store that you can check out, which provides all the information on Jungian psychology, including how to interpret your own dreams, typology, analytical psychology. So go ahead and check that out too. And thank you so much for watching.